We all have a vision of what our dream life is. In this video, we'll take a look at turning that vision into goals and taking action on those goals. Hi everybody, let's talk about our dream life and how to take action to create it. I'm going to firstly talk about how to start refining your dreams into goals, and then secondly, how to get your money to work to achieve those goals. By the end of this video, you'll have action steps to start creating your financial freedom. Ready? Let's get started. For most of us, the vision of our dream life is a little bit fuzzy. We have a vague idea of maybe having more money, starting a business, traveling the world, and other more exotic ideas that I don't have the imagination to come up with. The truth is though, a vague, shadowy concept of this dream life may make us feel better when it feels like life isn't going our way, and we can fall back on the notion of this someday, maybe one day. But unless we get brave and vulnerable and start to pin it down and define it, that's all it will ever be, a vague notion. And I found this particularly hard as I didn't want to diminish my dream life by my limited imagination. And somehow it seems so much bigger and greater and amazing and wonderful by being this little bit undefined and mysterious and delusional. Because by doing that, I wasn't committed, I wasn't putting myself on the line, and I wasn't opening myself up to the potential failure of not being able to achieve that vision and then having nothing to fall back on in terms of my dream. Now, this is a little bit of TMI in terms of the psychological minefield that is my brain. But in any event, as soon as I started turning it into actual goals and numbers and timelines, I felt so much more in control of creating it and less dependent on this fickle fate for making it happen. So let's start to make this hazy dream real. Dr. George Kenda, a financial planner in the US and the father of the concept of planning our money around what we want in our life, provides an excellent source and guide in his book, Life Planning for You. And he starts the process of creating your dream life with 3 questions. I've included them in the workbook below. And Dr. Kenda suggests that you complete each question before moving on to the next one. So work through the workbook and try and drill down to those questions. They really are profound and should really take you very deeply into what you want out of life. So let's start with question 1. Imagine you wake up tomorrow and you have all the money you need, and it will never go away. So how would you change your life? Would you change anything? What would you do? What would you do differently every day? What would having the unlimited resources make available to you? Start considering that from the perspective of not having any limits, imagined or real. Number 2, this is a question is a little bit more depressing, but your doctor phones you and he says, bad news, you are going to die within 5 to 10 years. The good news is you won't feel any pain and you won't know when it is going to happen, but there is that deadline. And with the finances you have right now, or the resources you have right now, what would you do? Would you change your life? Would you do things differently? And how would you change it? And then the 3rd question gets even more depressing and deep. Your doctor calls back. Big mistake. You are going to be dead within 24 hours. That means no time to change anything in your life. And so the question is, what would your biggest regret be? Who would you have not gotten to be? And what would you have not gotten to do? From this exercise, map out the items that you've identified as important to you and what you want more of in your life. Try and start directing it towards a timeline. And by timeline, I don't mean that by the 10th of January 2020, I'll have sorted out my life. I mean a timeline that you have a short-term, a medium-term, and a long-term goal. This is really, really a deep exercise, and it needs to you need to spend some time to go much deeper and to drill it down and get to the core of what is meaningful to you. So from what we've done on this exercise, we've passed through it very quickly. And to be honest, this is your life you're talking about. And this really does make sense to spend a lot more time on trying to identify what this concept of financial freedom means to you, what your dream life means to you, and what is important. And bottom line, what do you want to get your money to do for you? Where do you want to direct it? Very important to lay down this sort of ground rule, or this path, before you can start really directing your money to work for you. So let's take the next step. We've now got the sort of vision working on and the goals. How do we practically start working towards those goals and start directing our money to achieving it? So let's assume you've paid off all your expensive debt, that's your credit cards and such debt, and you're managing whatever good debt you have very well. You've built up an emergency fund that you feel extremely comfortable with and secure. It's time to start putting your money to work by saving and investing and building your goals. So simplistically speaking, by putting your money to work, or by saving and investing, you are making your money work for you for 24 hours, building investment returns even as you are sleeping. So before we jump in, I want to just differentiate that saving and investing are different concepts. When we talk about saving, it's considered less risky than investing. And we're actually going to do a lot more videos on this and break down what it means. But for now, your takeaway I want you to get from this is that if your goals are less than 5 years, you want to work towards them through saving. Now, saving is considered less risky because simply you're just taking a sum of money and depositing it with a financial institution for a set return. So your risk is that the financial institution goes bankrupt, but what many governments and bank regulators have done to preserve the stability of the financial markets is they've guaranteed deposits. So for example, in the UK, the Financial Conduct Authority, which regulates banks and financial institutions, has created the Financial Services Compensation Scheme, which guarantees deposits with a regulated entity of up to £85,000. So we said when you save, you deposit for a fixed return, nothing more, just that return. So if that return, or that interest rate, is less than the rate of inflation, and inflation is the rate at which the costs of goods and services increase, your money is going to be losing its purchasing power. It's going to be worth a little bit less when you take it out of your savings to use it. Now, this makes savings sound bad, but it is not, and it certainly has its place. For example, you want your emergency fund in a savings account. You want it to be readily accessible in an emergency. I just want to take this moment in time to point out to myself, note to self, an emergency is not Black Friday spending. An emergency is a real emergency where you need that money to live, or you need it for a very big expense that's come about unexpectedly. The second thing is, where your goals are less than 5 years, you will achieve them by saving, as I mentioned earlier. And the reason being, the financial markets go up and down the whole time. So if you need your goal money at a point in time when the market is down, that means you have to sell the assets that you have in the financial market, potentially at a lower value than that you need for your goal. So this could be disastrous if you're saving for a wedding, or the deposit on your house, or even that dream holiday. So you want to be certain when those goals come around that you have the right amount of money, and you do that through savings. So let's take a look now at investing. And as I mentioned earlier, investing is seen as more risky than saving. So investing is where you take your money and you put it into assets such as shares or bonds or property or even your own company, with the hope of the value growing. It's seen as more risky because you can theoretically lose all your money, which is true. But on the other side, the returns can be exponential in terms of the growth of the asset and the income that it produces. And in reality, when you are investing, you're going to take measures to mitigate that risk of losing your money, one of which is diversification. And we'll talk about all these measures when we talk about investing. But again, we'll do a lot of videos on breaking down investing. The takeaway that I want you to take from today is, where your goals are longer than 5 years into the future, you will achieve them by investing. So you'll invest for those goals. So for very long-term goals, or in some people's cases not so long-term, such as retirement, we also have the added benefit of other types of vehicles. For example, a pension. Now, a pension is just a house for your pension, basically, and the assets in that pension, your investments, could equally be held outside in any other investment. But the beauty of within the pension house is that they are bought on before tax money. So that in the UK, if you already paid tax on the money used to buy your pension, HMRC will refund you that into your pension so that can grow. So you'll have more money to grow at the beginning. The disadvantage of a pension is you can't take the money out before a particular statutory age. For example, in the UK, it's 55. And if you do take it out before, then you're going to be subject to penalties and potential tax. The second thing is that when you do take your money out, it will be taxed. Once again, in the UK, you are able to take the first 25% tax-free, but thereafter you are taxed. So what I want to talk about is the magic of investing, and this is called compounding. And simplistically, this is where you've made an investment, you've earned a return on it, that return is reinvested, and then your whole new pot of investment pot earns interest again, and your return keeps on building exponentially. So let's break that down into numbers. On day one, you invest £1,000. At the end of the year, you've earned 10%, so you've earned £100. Your pot is now £1,100. Let's assume you earn another 10% for the next year, so you've earned £110. Your pot is now £1,210. And if you were to continue to earn 10% within 7.2 years, you would have doubled your money without adding another pound. And that is the beauty of getting your money to work for you. And this is a very simplified analysis because in reality, as mentioned earlier, the markets go up and down, and in some years it may be up 10%, in another year it may be down 10%, and another year it may be up 50%, and another one down 50%. But as history shows us, this up and down trajectory is normally on an upward flow. So the longer you're in the market, the more opportunity you have of benefiting from that upward movement. So that, in a nutshell, is how you move towards the concept of your vision, to your goals, to implementation. So basically, we identify our goals, we set them on a timeline, we save more than we spend, we save and invest appropriately, and we work towards our goals. All seems very simple, or maybe not, but what we'll do in future videos, we'll start laser focusing on every single element of this working towards your goals. So if you like this video, please let me know by hitting the like button and share it with your fellow ladies. If you found anything helpful and enjoyed it, please comment. If you wouldn't mind popping down, you can grab the worksheet and you can create your visions and goals. Read George Kinder's life planning book for you. And for further financial education and money talk designed for women, subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell to be notified when I post more videos. Bye for now.